Okay guys, today we're gonna be doing another guide video, this time on quest number 29 in Storm Clash mode against Akaino. The Storm characters for this quest are Buddy, which is a really good thing because most of the good characters are on the Buddy force, like Whitebeard, Blackbeard, Ace, Shanks, and other good characters as well. Um, in this stage, you will find water and ice, fire and wind enemies that are like weak to these elements. Actually, the first two stages are so much easier than the ones in quest number 28, because basically you only get exactly 6 enemies that are weak to wind on the first stage and exactly 6 enemies that are only weak to fire in the second stage. And the enemies that are weak to water and ice only appear on the boss stage, which doesn't really matter because most of the time you're just gonna use a lot of water and ice against Akaino because he is weak to that. So they will most likely just die when you use your attacks and skills on Akaino anyway. So let's start with this team. So there was another team that I used. I also used a healer in that team. I'm using a healer in this team as well. The other team was in another video, the first clear video. I will link the video in the description below. You can use that team as well. It took me longer with that team. This team actually got me better timing, so I would suggest that you use this team over the last one. So here, as you can see, I have a healer. I used Zoro again because, well, most of you have her or her special attack from the celebrity event for Okiji that came like 5 months ago. If you started after this event, most likely you don't have her, or probably you bought her like by mistake in another kind of gacha. But if you don't have her, you can just use the other healer I used there, which was Birona. She does wind damage as well. She was really good against the enemies that are weak to wind. And as I mentioned, there's only like 6 of them, so you don't like have to do a lot of hits with the wind damage there. So you can use Birona, you can use also Chopper. Like I mentioned in the last video, you can just use a strategy where you just go back with Chopper to the end of the map and heal from there. You can also use Zeph. Zeph is a wind damage dealer as well as healer. He would work well as well here. The only healer that I would say that wouldn't work fine here would be probably Fifi Wascara, because she's the worst healer in the game. She wouldn't do a lot of work here. So you have like 4 healers you can use here. I mean, there's a chance that you can do this quest without any healers. A lot of people did that, but to be in the safe place, you just have to use a healer here. So as you can see, I will start with the Team B and C. Team B and C, you see, normally I use fighters as mains in Team B and C, so they can like survive the most. But as I mentioned, the first 2 stages are actually really easy, and I just put Sadie. She's a warrior that actually can survive still, not as good as a fighter would do, but she is like okay, she can survive some hits. Same thing with oh my god, I forgot her name. Nami? Yeah, Nami, sorry. How do I forget her name? Oh my god. Okay, so Nami and Sadie both do wind damage, which is really great for the first stage. You just want them to live only for the first stage to do the damage, the needed damage for the 6 enemies that are weak to wind, and that's it. That's all you need from there, from them there. I also have the new special attack for Nami that is not actually officially released. It's in the banner that if you bowl for the extreme event for NL banner, you can get her. I bowled a couple of times there and I used even some Korihas on her. I got her to level 8. It's a water damage and it would work great in this stage. I mean, she has now 2 elements, wind and water, which are both needed for this stage. She's like a perfect candidate for this team. So Sadie and Nami are basically just for the first stage. If they die or switch to the other fighters later in the second stage or in the boss stage, as you will see in the video by the end of the video on the run, it wouldn't really matter because you don't need them anymore. Again, they're only for the first stage. Then in the second stage you will need a fire damage dealer for the 6 enemies that are weak to fire. So we have Ace here. Ace is also considered a crowd controller. His special attack is broken. It still has that bug that makes him deal the damage twice. So I will show you a quick tip there where to like make use of that bug to like hit more enemies at the same time. So Ace here is most likely just for these 6 enemies, and also he has the healing skill. You can use that to heal some of your team allies, and there is the ability to control the enemies at some point. Okay, so when Sadie and Nami switch, we would need water damage, a lot of water damage to get Akainu down to 0 HP, of course. So normally you would use Kiji. Kiji would do a lot of good damage here. I mean, if you don't have Nami's special attack, you can just switch her to Kiji. He would do a lot of damage here to Akainu, and even if he like dies or switch, you will have here Whitebeard, which is a storm character that has that gets 50% more HP in attack. You can use the old special attack for him, though, the one with water damage. Also his skills are great to like control the crowd and also the boss to like stop his special attacks and skills from being casted. He also is a fighter that has a lot of HP. He can survive. You can heal him easily back to full health. Yeah, I mean, I'm using here the new one, the young one. You can use the old one. It doesn't really matter. I mean, the young one has a couple more stats, but it doesn't really matter that much. Here you can. I mean, I used Jimby. He's not like the most optimal water damage dealer, but he's a fighter. All of his skills are water. I'm using the old skill because I don't have the new skill special attack. Sorry, I'm talking about the special attack. If you have this new special attack, it would work even better. It has more damage. It has better effects. You can use the new special attack over this one. So basically, you have 2 fighters ready to be in play after Nami and Sadie, or if you change Nami to Kiji. After they fall, you will find a fighter that is fighting Akainu, and you can just heal them with Zoro. Zoro also is a water damage dealer. She would do some good damage to Akainu. She has this skill that does stun. I believe Akainu is can be stunned, so it works really good against him. Something else that I also forgot to mention about Zoro, her passive actually makes you heal the allies without doing anything, without using any skills. if you like stand beside your teammates, you just heal them every once in a while. So yeah, that's basically the team. You can also, I forgot to mention, there is shields in this quest. There are shields that resist and reflect damage for gravity and lightning. At first I thought that was like a big deal, because if you've ever seen my video against NL extreme event, if the damage got reflected, you get like 10,000 or 20,000 damage if you use that element against the shield. But the shields actually in these stages, even in stage number 30, don't really do that much damage. They don't even if they reflect the damage. If you are using the support here, the support that I always use, 5 snipers for max evasion, most of the reflected damage will be mess you, like it will not hit you. So you can basically use Blackbeard here even though the shields reflect his damage. A lot of people use that in this stage and the last stage, and it worked very well for them. And they mentioned that they didn't get a lot of damage from there. So yeah, you can just use Blackbeard if you are a fan. So yeah, now let's get to the gameplay of this team, and I'll show you guys why it's actually really good. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so as I mentioned, the first 2 stages are really easy. Like, you can just use any element here to clear all kind of mobs. Of course, except for like if you want to like minimize the damage, don't use Blackbeard on the shields. I mean, you can, they won't like reflect a lot of damage, but still, like, try to not use Blackbeard here against them. So any element would do here until the very end of the stage, where we start getting, yeah, like here we get the first 3 enemies that are weak to wind. So as you can see, one of Sadie's special attacks just cleared them. Then we get a wave in the middle before we get the other 3. And oh, that's 7 actually. So that's 4 and the other one 3. So okay, I'm real terrible at counting. So there are the 7. The 4 come right after the wave in the middle. As you can see, even Nami does some damage with her skills. And yeah, first stage is cleared. Easy peasy. Now goes to the second stage. I mean, if your characters like Sadie and Nami switch here, it doesn't matter, you don't need them anymore. But you still need to keep Ace alive until the end of this stage. Okay, so we got the first 3 fire enemies, the enemies that are weak to fire here. And the other 4 also spawned there. If you haven't seen them, you can just like rewind back a couple of seconds ago, and the other 4 also spawned, and Ace destroyed them all in one hit. Here I used Fever by mistake. I mean, this was the last wave of the second stage. You didn't really need to use the Fever here, but I like used it by mistake. So of course you want to keep the Fever for Akainu here. Use your skills and special attacks and like try to put them in some kind of order with the special attacks and skills of the other teams to like keep Akainu busy or knocked down, so he doesn't like use his skills or special attacks. So as you can see here, we start getting the enemies that are weak to water and ice. We didn't get them in the first two stages. Now Ace would work okay here to clear the enemies that are weak, that are not weak to anything, because there's a lot of enemies that spawn here. Also, if you have noticed, Sadie and Nami switched because they got a lot of damage. So now we are fighting with the two fighters we had, and both of them do water damage for the maximized damage that you can do. You can use Tsuru here as much as you can, especially during Fever, to use her skills that deal water damage to also maximize your damage against Akainu and kill him as much as you can, as fast as you can. You see, the problem with Akainu is his special attack. His special attack is really annoying. It's one of the worst. He's one of the worst bosses that you can ever meet in the game, especially in the first year of the release. It's because his special attack, even if you dodge it, it's still there in the map that is waiting for you to stab on it, and you will be infected with fire anyway. So Tsuru here does a really good job by reflecting that status elements of fire from her special attack, and also from one of her skills. I forgot to mention that, the skill where she like does a shower of water shower. It also removes the status elements. But as you can see, it's like very easy to keep your fighters at almost full HP. And this is how Ace and Whitebeard got their revenge on Akainu. So there you go, guys. That was the second clear using a totally different team. I hope you find this video interesting or useful for you. If you have any questions, you can just leave them in the comments section below. Please like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't yet. I will be trying to like upload the guide for stage number 30 before the event ends. If I couldn't, I will like upload it anyway, and you can use it for the next Storm Clash that comes probably in 1 month. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.